Hey, Matt Stone here. What up? Rainy day in Sevilla. Just filming indoors today. One thing I think everybody should do a lot more of is step outside of the news cycle and the things that are being presented to us and think about something independently on your own that hasn't been sort of planted in your mind by what everybody's talking about on social media and when everybody's talking about it in the news. One of the things that I think about and that I've thought about often that I've never seen really anybody discussing anywhere at any great depth is the issue of social Darwinism. So, social Darwinism is the idea that through a process of selective breeding, natural selection, we are breeding certain characteristics and creating this like big divide between the rich and the poor. And I think it's there's so much more to it than that, and it's worse than we think it is, and it's going to be worse than we think it is. Most people interpret social Darwinism, they look at it and they just think the truth about it, if it is true, which of course it is, but often it is. People try to debunk it or say that it's debunked because they don't like the idea of what it means. What does it mean that the rich are genetically superior to the poor, and vice versa? That the poor are these you know genetically inferior people compared to the rich. What does that say? Well, that's not a nice thought to have, and nobody wants to think that way. But I look at it the other way around. I think it's knowing that that's something that exists and accepting it and embracing it. The question is, to me, we should have more pity on people who we can't just expect those people to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps and get out there and I always use this example, but start the next hot new tech company. That just not going to happen. So, just in a nutshell, just so we're all kind of operating from the same framework. When I think about social Darwinism, I think about our capitalist economic system that is now pretty much global except for North Korea, and there's some sort of quasi-capitalist countries still, like China. This economic system that we have worldwide, it rewards certain things. It rewards intelligence. It rewards looks, being beautiful, so beauty. It rewards athleticism. If you're very athletic, you and become a professional athlete, you'll become very wealthy. It rewards health. Being healthy is a huge advantage that helps you escape poverty. Being very motivated and driven, having a great personality, right? We breed dogs for temperament, right? Because we know that these are genetically transmissible traits that you can actually control the personality of a dog by, how it's selectively bred over time. Personality and charisma and, all that kind of stuff is certainly has a genetic component. So we take all these qualities that give you an economic advantage, an advantage to, escape the poor area. And once you escape the poor area, then you can be in the wealthy area and you can procreate with other people who also had a lot of those characteristics. Obviously the stereotypical relationship is the beautiful woman and the extremely intelligent, wealthy man. They pair up and have kids, and you are mixing beauty and intelligence, and you get this great genetic formula to produce some great kids. So that's kind of the stereotypical thing. But you see athletes a lot now in pro athletes. So many pro athletes now are the kids of former pro athletes, right? It should be obvious at this point that so much of professional athletics is genetics, when a larger and larger, it's like I predict in 100 years, if we keep doing this, that every single professional athlete will be a descendant of a former professional athlete. That's where we're headed with that. But the same could be true of beauty and intelligence, health, charisma, you know, just being a hard worker, things that often are negatively reinforced that keep a person in poverty and keep them reproducing with other people who are in poverty would be proneness to drug addiction, not being very motivated or ambitious, obviously being unintelligent, all these kinds of things, being really fat, being really ugly, certainly having poor health like diabetes or other conditions. You're much less likely to escape poverty if you have those kinds of conditions. So all of this wouldn't be that big of a deal if the wealthy were the ones doing most of the breeding, right? If the wealthy were having way more kids than the poor, then we could be extracting, these great qualities out of the poor areas and building this superior, genetically superior, improved race of human beings with each passing generation. But the opposite is true. If you look anywhere in the world, whether you're looking at just the United States, for example, or if you're looking worldwide, the pattern is crystal clear. The poorer you are, the more kids you have, and the wealthier you are, the fewer kids you have. Of course, there are exceptions. We're talking about broad statistics here. So I worry about this. I think that this is a really big issue. It's something that nobody talks about, but we are literally breeding an army of sick, drug addiction prone, stupid people, and having a decreasingly smaller and smaller sort of super race of all these extremely beautiful, intelligent, athletic, motivated people with great health. This is a terrible experiment that we're performing right now in the human race. And, not having great health and being super motivated or super intelligent or, having all those negative traits is not a reason. That's not a viable reason why someone should live in poverty, live in squalor, live in an unsafe area, have poor access to healthcare, have poor access to education, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, now more than ever, the world needs to make that move towards greater egalitarianism and equality. There is nothing, no matter how intelligent you are, it doesn't necessarily give you the right to abuse our natural resources. And vice versa, no matter how stupid you are, already you're dealing with a burden of not being very intelligent or good looking or athletic or whatever it is. That's a contributing factor in keeping you in poverty, but then to have to suffer for it with stress your whole life of wondering how the hell you're going to survive, and having limited access to all the resources that are out there that are needed for your survival and your basic needs, it's just it's cruel. So obviously this is something that somebody needs to talk about and surface. And we need to be really careful with what we're doing here, because this is a seriously dangerous experiment that we're in right now. And it's going to cause greater and greater and greater socioeconomic stratification and just greater and greater levels of social Darwinism, like I said, where the population of people who have the characteristics that we put a low value on is going to continue to grow rapidly, while the characteristics that we view as positive and that are desirable, the population of people with those characteristics is going to get smaller and smaller. Is that what we really want? I definitely don't think that's what we want. So hopefully we can actually take that into account, face the facts that social Darwinism is a real thing, and make some strategic changes across our civilization to maybe steer things back in the other way, So anyway, that's all the thoughts I have about that. It's an intriguing topic that I've pondered, a lot from time to time over the years, and I'm eager to be able to share it and start a discussion about it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts and what the implications are and in your eyes. And if there's anything that you think that we could do about it.